Numbers.
The numbers went away.
Now there's numbers and letters.
I'm blown away.
Wow.
Welcome to Sesame Street, y'all.
This episode is brought to you by the letter K.
Hey, Kevin!
Oh. Ozzy.
Greetings and good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, where you is. I am Tom Connors. We are back with 4K for you. Joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, Mr. Valliant Renegade. How are you doing, sir?
I am good after a brief stint doing DMV stuff today, which is like, you know,
That's almost as
fortunately,
bad as going to the dentist, ain't it?
Well, you know, I finally figured out you don't need to go to the DMV for a lot of things, and I didn't today. It made it a lot easier, but I still had to sit there, license renewal, registration renewal. I in and out of there in about 30 minutes as opposed to 3 hours, but it was still a bunch of running around. So, but good to be back live at 5 here. We got some stuff to talk about, but that'll be more fun than dealing with my automotive legal stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to waste too much time because we've got a decent topic to talk about. And I know we've seen some movies and we got some news and rumors from this man here, Greg of FanZcene. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Glad to be here once again with Valliant and you, Tom, and hanging out with this awesome chat.
I think you're turning into a lichen.
A what?
Oh my gosh.
Now I want to go watch Underworld again.
I had to get a little spooky picture for spooky season there.
If you don't stop doing that, you might go blind. I'm just
I know, man. One day I woke up and it was all hairy and sticky and I didn't really notice a change.
Then your voice is deeper and you're howling at night and all this crazy shit's happening. Well, yes, welcome everybody. And getting to that note, we're going to have some spooky movies. This is a hell of a month. We don't have a lot for news and rumors, but what we do have is a shit ton of releases. Like this week was huge. Next week is going to be even bigger. This is a nutty. And then you got, we recently got a look at what I'm calling Top Gun Father's Day edition. Did you want to comment on that quick while I grab a picture, Value?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of always the worst kept secret that they were going to do a really nice 2-pack. You're going to get the original Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. Of course, Top Gun Maverick's release date on disc. The physical media is still slated to be November 1st. And if you're insane like I am, you pre-ordered it back on June 15th when it first came out for pre-order. Now, I didn't pre-order the 2-pack because I already own the original Top Gun in 4K from when it was released not that long ago in anticipation of Maverick. So, but if you don't have the first Top Gun
I have
movie
the same
yet
problem.
in 4K, yeah, I mean, this 2-pack should be right up your alley. The first Top Gun movie in 4K looks really pretty. I think they did a great job with the transfer from that 1984 kind of film stock. It looks as good as you could hope for. There's another movie I watched, 86. Well, they would have filmed it in 84, 85. That's what I'm going
somewhere in there.
But, watched another movie this week that I'm sure we'll talk about. I think you did too, from that same era. Yeah. We also did a pretty decent job of revitalizing that old film stock, and that's the original Friday the 13th. So I know we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. And I know Greg dropped a review, I think it was today, right? That you dropped it, or was it? Yeah, of another new movie that came out that mine's still in transit, but it has finally shipped.
It looks good. I enjoyed the transfer on that. It looked like a pretty good transfer.
We'll talk about that in a moment. I'm not going to reveal what that is yet, but it finally shipped out with my Elvis. Or no, not my Elvis. What was it? Something else. I can't remember. But I finally found an Elvis. Best Buy still had some in stock. Amazon was out of stock already, My local Walmart was out of stock already. My dumb ass forgot to pre-order it because I was waiting for a steelbook from Best Buy that never happened. And I've noticed that a couple times now. I fucked that up. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to order this. Oh yeah, because I was waiting for a steelbook. So I didn't, because like I was going to do that with Wayne's World. And I'm like, nope, I'm just going to order it now because I don't want to have to fuck around and wait. And even though I was probably an early pre-order of the movie we're going to talk about a little later, yeah, that seems to be getting delayed by some people, not everybody, but some people. But I heard even like Best Buys and stuff didn't get some of their stock on that. So we'll talk about that in a little bit here once we get to that portion. But
yes, sir.
for those who are looking for the Top Gun Ultimate set, that comes out, I believe, roughly a month or so after the initial release, right, Valiant, if I'm not mistaken?
Man, you got me on that one. I don't remember. I know the other one's coming out November 1st. I didn't think it was quite a month, but you might be right. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Top Gun.
Yeah, December 6th. They got it listed here.
So they're making you wait. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that kind of sucks.
But it looks like you get some good swag in here. You get some, looks like you got some, that looks like a dog tag and a keychain, a leather keychain. Get a nice, whatever that is, if that's a book or a pad.
See, they want to make me go back and
type.
buy a box set. Sons of bitches.
Yeah. I don't know if these are stickers or if they're pins. But of course, then you get the movies, a bunch of lobby cards, nice steelbook. I'm assuming the steelbooks will be different than the ones that are already going to be coming out because I think that's a different image than the one that's on it. And of course, it comes all in this nice looking box here. It is very tempting. Like, this is one of those where I'm not going to pre-order, but if I happen to catch it on sale at some point, maybe, like if the price goes down to like 50% off,
yeah,
that'd be tempting.
Yeah.
But anyhow, speaking of things that are coming out, Greg, what have you got for us for news and rumors?
Not too much right off the bat, but sticking sort of with the black and white werewolf theme here, but not technically werewolf, but the documentary Boris Karloff, the man behind the monster, is coming out October 18th from Voltage Pictures on Blu-ray. I've heard that was a really good documentary about the life of Boris Karloff and how he was, he always portrayed these monsters, but how really awesome of a nice guy he truly was. So that's coming if you're a big fan of Universal Monsters and stuff like that. The rumor of Near Dark has come out once again. A 4K of the vampire movie Near Dark, supposedly by Studio Canal, might be getting a steelbook and a regular release in 2023. This is the second time I've heard this, but I've not yet been able to confirm this. So I would say it's a rumor at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is one I wouldn't say I broke necessarily, but yeah, I did kind of, I think I broke the news that Groove exclusive steelbook part of it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
On 8 Mile. So yeah, Universal owned Groove store is doing a limited edition. You can only get it through their website or their store. I'm assuming they may have stores out there because I think they acquired this company through the whole Spencer's deal, if I'm not mistaken. But Groove, I don't know if it is. Are they stores in a mall? Does anybody know? I mean, I know they got a website.
Yeah, I ordered the website, but I don't know.
I ordered the steelbook and I actually got a really good deal on it because, like, I don't know if they still have the deal right now, but you had like a 20% off deal right now. Plus, they also had another deal going on, where if you buy Universal Monsters, there's a bunch of movies that are like $15 or something like that, and you basically get one for free. So you get it real cheap. So there's some good deals on there. And of course, since they're owned by Universal, I think that's why they can push out some of those deals. But the question here is, considering that's their own storefront, Duck Nation asks, I assume that they make more money that way, and they would with selling it on Amazon and Best Buy. Yes. And if this is the case, and they're doing this is a way of them cutting out the middleman, and they can offer those great deals like that. Like I got 8 Mile 4K steelbook for like $20 with shipping and all that shit. So yeah. And that makes it to me worth it, because otherwise, if I was looking at it on a shelf and it was $20 just for this regular 4K, I'd be like,
yeah,
yeah. And a limited edition steelbook that sweetens the pot a little bit, plus the shipping part of it and all that business, because I think I got free shipping since it was my first order or whatever the deal is. So yeah, but
nice.
So I'll let you guys know how that works out as far as when I get it. But yeah, Groove is doing this, and this is their thing, and they might as well, because you had done a I think you talked about this in a video, Greg, with like Serial at Midnight and some other places we've talked about, where Best Buys and all these places are just not having movies like they used to.
Yeah, they're just not, and it's a combination of like the rise of Groove and Amazon and all these digital stores having in some cases better deals, and everybody has started just buying online, and these brick and mortar stores just can't, they can't compete with that, so they've shrunk the physical media departments, and also to be honest, there's a massive amount of releases, like you just mentioned earlier, especially this September and October, that stores just cannot hold, and they can't sell all of them. So they just kind of just pick and choose the ones they know they can sell in the stores. So,
and evidently there's a deal with Warner Brothers there too. So that's cool.
Well, there you go. So yeah, it's like we want to support the brick and mortars, but when you get a deal like that, like you talked about, I mean, you're probably going to go for that deal online. So
there you go. So what else you got for us for news and rumors here?
Yes. This is something interesting. Well, me and you will probably find it interesting. Maybe Valiant. The second 4K is coming from Full Moon, and it will be Puppet Master 3.
Yeah, this was an odd release. Not the first one, but the third one. I'm assuming that's because this is probably the biggest selling one.
Probably, and that will be on January 24th of next year. So that's kind of interesting. And what's kind of funny is the director of that movie follows me on Facebook, so cool. I should talk to him about that.
He might follow me to have to look. But yeah, no, I've got that big box set that came in the trunk. But I wouldn't mind replacing some of those with some 4Ks, especially the first 3 or 4. Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah,
at least the first 3 anyway.
Yeah, I like the first 3. The first 5 or maybe 6.
Yeah, but 4 and 5, I don't know how well they transfer to 4K.
Yeah, that's true.
Those were shot on some cheaper film stock. And that might be another reason why this one's coming to 4K first, because it might be the most cinematic of the first 3, perhaps.
Probably.
Because you guys got to remember, these were shot to go straight to video.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were.
I mean, it was Full Moon.
Yeah.
But
Transfers is the first one, right? They're putting out?
Transfers is the first one. It's not out yet. I think it's coming out. Thinking
soon,
either this month or next month. Yeah, this month or next month, I think. Like I said, it's packed. There's so many releases being released this month and next month. It's hard to keep up with what's coming.
Well, and that's why we had so many announcements, and this show had so many great things to talk about for so long. But now we're just hitting the point where,
where like they've all been announced.
But Valiant, are you a fan of Full Moon growing up, or?
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember it very well.
Like the Puppet Master movies, Trancers, Subspecies.
Okay, I remember.
Oh man.
I remember Puppet Master. I don't remember the others very well.
Okay. Yeah, well, Puppet Master was probably their most popular brand besides Trancers, I suppose.
Yeah.
Trancers, I kind of vaguely remember the name. I don't recall the movie very well, though.
Yeah, there's like 6 of them now.
Well, there you go.
The first 3 are the best. So after that, it just gets a little crazy.
This was back when Charlie was really trying still, and then he just got to a point where it's like, oh, just throw some boobs in a monster and it's a movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I love him.
Why can't they still do that?
Well, he kind of does. He's like one of the only ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Trancers 4K comes out October 11th, by the way. I just looked it up.
Okay. I knew it was sooner or later, but yeah.
Yeah, Charlie, I have the Full Moon streaming thing, and it's got a really great deal, which I've done a video on it. If you get a year subscription to Full Moon streaming, they give you either the whole 12-disc Puppet Master set on Blu-ray, or you can pick 10 Blu-rays for free for just signing up for a year. And it's only $60 for a year, and it's like almost a $200 value period either way.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the rights to all his Empire films, but what he did do is he went back and bought a bunch of drive-in classic B movies and shit. So there's a good selection on there. I'm thinking about doing it, but I already have like a lot of the ones I already want. And then
exactly, yeah.
And then Chris Gore, he sent me a care package with like a film threat glass and some other things in it, and he sent me a bunch of Full Moon titles.
I know, you lucky man. I need so many more Full Moon titles. I hear that.
I'm like, to the point where I'm like, I don't know if there could be 10 that I actually need.
Well, if you want to get some of his new stuff, which is basically just Boob Central,
there might be some newer ones. Like, I mean, honestly,
they're not great movies, but
I don't have like the Trancers. Are the Trancers ones on there to where you can get them too? Okay, so maybe I might get
all 5 Trancers.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe I can get like 2, 3, 4, and 5 or something like that or whatever. Yeah. So it might be worth it. And he does like the podcast thing because you were telling me about that. That sounds like it's kind of worth it, and just for that.
Oh, and man, he's got some great ones. He did Joe Dante. He did oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. Peak Flamingo. You what's his name?
John Waters.
He
Yeah.
talked to John Waters, Joe Dante, Joe Bob Briggs, and so many other people. It's really great.
See, that sounds like it might be worth it just to get for that. But I see we got a random Andy Masterson in the chat. Holy cow. How you doing, Andy? And speaking of, I just blew my mind. I just
Andy.
remembered I hadn't said hello to anybody in the chat besides Duck Nation, technically. So Steven, aka Deleted Scenes, is here. Thank you for modding, Steven. We got Gotham Bat here. We got Joey. We got D-Bud Martin, who's probably also swinging a wrench around. Coffee Lover, Victor Fontaine, Death by Snoosu, Luke Karlowitz Art, if I'm saying that right. We got War Monkey in the house, Cool Gamer, and so many more. Thank you for being here. I see Cody Guy and Doba Fett, Dr. Dragon, Mecha J, some more regulars. Thank you guys for being here. And Jeremiah Hembry, I see there. Joey running with scissors. So many regulars here. Thank you for being here, guys. Gulf Coast Gypsy Music. And Duckworth Davina, or Davina Duckworth, sorry. I don't think I missed anybody else. Samurai Vader. Zax is here. Zax, how you doing, man? I think I got everybody then. Okay. That's said anything. Oh, Pilgrim Media as well. Marcus Stoopfarer, if I'm saying that right.
Stoopfarer. I don't know.
Stoopfarer. Sounds very foreign, yes.
Sounds very German.
Luis Escuardo, if I'm saying that is right as well. Oh, we got Steph in the house as well, and Turo. So good. Oh, I love this show, Turo. This is one of my highlights. This is when I actually get to talk about, even when I'm griping about things.
It's just fun stuff that doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So what else did you have for us for new stuff anyway?
We're getting a 4K of Bloodsport. Coming from a German company. Cape Light, I believe it's called.
Yeah,
it will have
be
two.
Surprised if there's a U.S. release, because didn't they do like Total Recall originally and then Studio
I think
Canal
so. Yeah, I'm sure there will be a. Usually when they announce it like this, there's not long after the U.S. release comes down the pipe. So yeah, but they have two covers. Looks like a new fancy cover, and then like the original VHS box art. You can cover A and cover B. You can choose from, and they ship worldwide. So if you're looking forward to get Bloodsport, Kumite, it's a great movie.
Yep. Well, I hope hopefully they will make a U.S. release, because I'm like, it's the same thing right now. I'm fixing to order the Police Story trilogy from the U.K. Because
I know, I was thinking the same. Yeah,
I'm like, okay, well, it's going to be, with the currency exchange and the shipping, it's going to be like $80.
I know,
for the trilogy. So I'm like, but I want it.
On that note, I think that my Highlander big box set is prepping.
Nice.
Prepping for shipment, so that's a good sign, I think.
I was going to get that.
Slow as fuck, though.
Yeah, Zombie is pretty slow. I was going to get that one, but I'm thinking about getting that Best Buy Steelbook.
I will say, I think they got that one package out to me pretty quick, even though they busted my poster. But yeah.
They probably send it media mail for $1.32. You get it in a month and a half.
It was on like clearance, so I think it was probably like that in the shop. I don't know if you can see it there. It's the one behind Stripe. It's the Gremlins too. It's in a frame, and the frame was busted. But I fixed it, so it's fine for now. But yeah, it was like a clearance deal. Yeah, they sent that out, and a couple of the movies that were already out, like that were already released, those got here pretty quickly. But like my Lost Boys and Poltergeist, I think, are on their way, and Highlander is prepping. So, and it took a while for Red Sonja to get here. It took a couple weeks. Yeah, and I heard this too, Jay Red Bull. I don't know if it was ever going to happen to begin with.
Yeah, it was canceled. I forgot about that.
I heard some shit that company's not necessarily on the up and up anyway. So,
interesting. Yeah, I was kind of excited about it, but then yeah, the little like Blu-ray thing they released kind of looked shoddy. So
yeah. And Double Fett, sometimes this takes time for them to actually get the thing up there. I've seen like the Bullet Train one. They canceled my original pre-order for it because they changed what the Steelbook was going to be and the price went up.
Oh.
So I had to go back and pre-order it. So which kind of sucked because I actually got away with getting the Ghostbusters set for the lower price when that came out. Jeremy Embry sends in $5. Thank you so much. Is Treasure Planet getting a 4K release? Because nothing was awesome. I'm just surprised they did not do one or two. sequels for that film. I think he means that movie was awesome. I don't think he means because nothing was awesome. Well, we're gonna get into that, Jeremy, and maybe Jeremiah. There might be something to that, but there may not be. As far as the film getting a 4K release in general, probably not anytime soon. But never say never. Professor Gray says, "What's better on most releases, theatrical or what?" Well, it all depends on the film, but in most cases. In my experience, the theatrical is most of the time all you really need. Outside of the rare, like Lord of the Rings, Aliens, just the few random ones here and there that actually do add to the original film. Sometimes the theatrical version just works just fine. You don't need all the excess bullshit.
True.
I mean, some things work. Like I thought it was interesting when they just recently redid Rocky 4. Where they added some stuff in that kind of changed the dynamics a little bit. I think it was Rocky 4 I'm thinking of, right?
Yeah. But like I, on the other hand, still just preferred the theatrical edition. But
I didn't dislike the theatrical. I found the redo of it interesting in its own way. I mean,
what's funny is I would like to see like a version in between it, Valiant, where they take all this stuff. Because like to me, what bothered me is just the stuff they lost from the other version. See, that's what I don't like. Those are the kind of director's cuts I usually don't like unless there's a good reason. The rare one being like that I can think of, which Rocky 4 was a decent one. I'm not going to say it wasn't. But like the Donner cut, for instance, is one I think of most.
Yeah.
When I think of how like, you have to get rid of some of that other shit or you don't get this version.
Right.
But outside of that case, like, Donner cut would be one of the other ones I would consider that you could fall into that category. The ones that usually suck are the ones that are unrated. Because they come from that period of time where they just decided that they were going to make all kinds of unrated movies just so they could double dip.
Well, that was all that was. You put the word unrated on the cover, and it's an instant seller. Like I remember one of the first ones that had the big unrated thing on it that I remember was like American Pie. You know, like with the extended pie stuffing scene.
Honestly, that was one of the first ones. That and like a Road Trip and
that was another one.
Gosh, I'm trying to think. There was some other early. Yeah, but you're right. And then there was a point where Fox
made that deal. It was that whole era.
Euro Trip was one.
Yeah, Euro Trip too. But Fox had it to be like they had it as a norm. Like 90% of their films were shot with both in mind. Like they would tell their directors, shoot a couple scenes that are going to go into the unrated version. That's why we had like things, or even like a Fantastic Four extended cut and all those other ones that came out at that time. That was all just because it was just their thing.
It gave you a reason to go buy the physical media when it got out of theaters. It was like, well, it's not the same movie. This is the unrated version. Yeah. And especially for movies like American Pie and all that, that was a draw because I mean, there was those outrageous kind of really raunchy, movies like that when you saw unrated version or like a horror movie where you saw unrated version, you're like, oh, you're getting extra sex, you're getting extra gore.
Well, and then see, sometimes those are okay, like when they actually meant to be shot that way. Like the one that comes to mind is like Dewey Cox, the
oh my
Walk Hard
god,
movie.
Yes, Walk Hard.
The cut version is not even the same movie. No, right, you can tell that movie was meant to be the overly indulgent extended cut.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that scene where he's sitting on the phone with it, sitting on the floor of the hotel room with like two wieners just hanging in his face, right in the shot as he's just casually talking on the phone. It's like, hey, Dewey, have you seen my cigarettes? Or I was like, oh my god, my wife is dying laughing. I'm just sitting there going, I can't even look at the screen right now.
I remember that now. The
other one that I loved is
you would put it out of your mind too until
pretty goddamn good for a 15-year-old with 7 kids and a monkey.
Yeah.
Or 15 kids and a monkey, whatever it is. Yeah.
It was. I'll put it this way. The great thing about it is
you're always taking her side.
It was an enjoyable movie. John C. Reilly was great in it. So with that kind of look, the movie has the rewatchability because it's so well done and it's just funny.
Right. And I think Step Brothers, I think I've maybe seen the theatrical cut once.
Oh yeah.
Like some of those movies, like you can tell they were meant to be that way. That's a little different, but like in American Pie, it might be one of the other exceptions.
I'm gonna put my nutsack on your drum set.
I just teabagged your fucking drum set.
Why are you all sweaty?
It's funny. I just watched that again like 2 nights ago.
I was watching Cops.
Cops didn't come on till 4:30.
You fucking high? It's fucking Shark Week, Dad.
Shark Week. Oh, that's a good movie. Boats and Hoes.
This place is a prison in the planet of bullshit.
The galaxy of what the fuck?
Oh, I love that film. That's a classic. But once in a while, the theatrical cut. Like, here's an example though where they did go too far with the unrated edition, Dumb and Dumber. I do not like the unrated edition. It is not the same movie. They added stupid shit for stupid reasons, and it's just that stupid subplot that didn't need to be there. And
it was a selling point. That was it.
It was
really
just
like we got to put unrated on the cover, and you bought it, and then you found out it was bad.
And the only way you can get your theatrical edition in HD is on like digital, and it's a really crappy old like cable scan, and it's only in 2.0 stereo. And that was one of the first movies I remember having DTS surround sound. When I saw it in the theater, it was that was one of the new things. So it was like, to me, to have that not have the 5.1 surround sound is kind of a. But for a comedy, that had pretty really good sound. That was what I remember between that and all the other stuff with that movie. But the theatrical cut is the one I fell in love with. Right, saw it 5 fucking times in the theater, and it was the version I wore out on videotape. And then when they changed it, it was just like, and you don't even get the option to watch the other version. It's just the unrated now. They only released the theatrical once on DVD, way back at the beginning of DVD.
It's crazy. You would think they would release that once.
See, and that doesn't bother me as long as they have both versions or all 10 versions, like in the case with Ridley Scott. Insert your movie here.
He does that a lot.
Yeah, he pretty much. There's tons and tons and tons of his films that there's only a few that haven't been retouched. Is there an unrated version of Scarface? I think there's only the one cut that I know of.
I don't
think so. Unless it's different in other countries. That could be. That's another thing you got to remember. Yeah. If you're talking about international, that's a whole nother ball game, because now we have situations where like a lot of horror films will have what is considered the R cut here will get cut down in other countries. So then when they say we have the unrated version here now, or uncut for the first time, all they're getting is finally getting the R-rated cut that we had. Or vice versa with Highlander, where basically we're getting the version that everybody else got. We didn't get the chopped down by whatever company it was at the time that released it. I think it was Embassy or whatever, cut it down by like 5 minutes. And it's just been the restored version ever since one of the early DVDs. They just do the director's cut, quote unquote. And that's another thing to pay attention to. If it's called the director's cut, 9 times out of 10, if not 9.9 times out of 10, that's a big difference than an unrated or an extended cut, because then the director's cut usually means the director actually signed off on it, which generally then those tend to be the better versions, because then that's the one the director goes in, says, this is what I want, boom. They're like the director's edition, and quote unquote, like a movie I have sitting right here.
Oh, finally got it.
Nice.
Yes.
Still waiting on the box set.
You'll be waiting a little bit. As soon as some people are waiting in this chat.
Well, it's telling me like Friday. It's on the road finally, but it's
I think Amazon must have had a bunch of delays because
they really did.
We'll talk about that in a moment. Zontar says, until I recently thought Shout just did anime. No, Shout's done. They're actually a company that's made up of a couple of different old boutique companies conglomerated between, like, I think Rhino, Anchor Bay. I can't remember where else those guys came from, but they created their own company, and that's kind of where it. I think it took over for Rhino, if I'm not mistaken, because that's where they got a lot of the music involved and stuff. If somebody knows better, please correct me in the chat. But yeah, no, they've done more than anime for some time. And we're going to talk about them maybe, if not tonight, soon. But what else you got for news and rumors, Greg, so we can actually get to our main
That's pretty much it, other than if you're a Frasier fan, the whole series is coming to Blu-ray on November 8th.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Yeah, that's about it.
Otherwise, I guess the Disc Father is posting a rumor that supposedly the Joker might be coming to
Yeah,
Criterion.
I saw that, but he just had the picture, so I didn't.
Yeah, so I don't know on that. We've announced that Casablanca is coming, but we did get to see a new box set for that as well. So that was about the only other thing I could really add that you have. Oh, Ripped is coming to 4K for some dumb
Oh
reason.
yeah, Ripped. Well, I heard they're making a sequel to that too.
Oh, that's probably why. And why would they do that? The first one ripped us off.
I don't know, but I did hear
there.
that. As far as I remember, I think they said Jeff Bridges and him is coming back for a sequel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe the video sold better than I realized.
Maybe. I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds, so.
Ghost Dog is also rumored too, but it doesn't look like if it's 4K or not. I would hope it would be, but we'll leave on that one. There's a few of these movies that he's got posted here. I'm not sure what the deal is yet, so we'll hold off on those. But
that's why I didn't yet really bring them up.
And did we talk about the Sony Classics?
Yeah,
line last time. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we covered that, so we're good. So yeah, the other big news this week was that Pixar's WALL-E, speaking of Criterion Collection, is coming to Criterion.
Yes.
And this took a lot of people by surprise. And on the heels of that, speaking of the Disc Father, I believe he had posted supposedly that this is going to open up the catalog and all this other business. Now, I tried to do some nosing around to find out if that was true or not, and I could not get anybody to confirm it. Not necessarily deny it, though, either. So what we're going to do is we're going to go off of the assumption that for now it's just this film. That's just kind of what this article does in a way. And then we're going to get into the possibilities it opens. Because for those who may not know, this is not technically the first time that Disney and Criterion have worked together. I don't know if you guys know this or not.
It sounds vaguely familiar because I know not Disney isn't. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I know it's been a while. I can't remember what it was. But
yeah, I don't believe it's like a Disney movie though.
Greg's right.
Yeah.
They released the director's cut of Armageddon, and it's still widely available. Their DVD is, even through the Disney movie club, no less. And they also released a special edition of The Rock. Through other companies, they have technically done Disney movies in the past. And also they've done like Chasing Amy, which would have been a Miramax picture. And there's a few other ones here and there that they have. So it's not technically the first time Criterion and Disney have paired up. But I think this has more to do with Pixar than it does with Disney per se. But we're going to get into that in just a moment. The big deal with this is it's going to be a completely new render it's still going to be a 2K master, but from my understanding, they're going back to the original files to do a completely new up convert from those files and do an HDR grading on them. And maybe Valliant can kind of elaborate on why that's a bigger deal than just up converting, say, the old Blu-ray file.
Yeah. Well, the thing with that is if they're going back and they're going to the actual original, whatever software they were using back at that point to build that Adobe Animator or something, they're going back to that original file from the master, from what they basically rendered the final theatrical copy and rendered the Blu-ray copy, as opposed to just going to the Blu-ray copy that they made from that and then up converting from the Blu-ray, let's say. If they're going back to the original construct, that means that they're going to be able to output that using much more sophisticated software algorithms now than what they had 5 or 10 years ago. And they're going to be able to up convert from that original construct file where they built the
uncompressed file, no less.
Yeah,
keep that in mind.
Right, exactly. And the sampling, the level of sampling for the up conversion, like I said, with today's technology is far superior than even what we had 5 years ago. So this is not just going to be, let's take what we got and up convert the 2K. This is going to be substantially better. Now, bear in mind that original construction file that they made when this movie came out in 2008, 2009, They've been working on that from years before. So they would have been working on this initially in, call it, 2006, 2007 technology, because to build a movie like that probably
Right.
took 2 or 3 years. So they would have built it probably in 2K, no
Yeah.
doubt. But to be able to take that original construction file and then render it out from its initial source into 4K, it's going to look substantially better.
Right. It's going to be an
Yeah.
upconvert in a sense from the file itself, not the actual movie per se.
Right. Which is very different than upconverting from the original file of something that was shot in high definition on a
Right.
digital camera. For example, another one that's coming out, which is going to be Avatar. Avatar was shot on high definition digital Sony cameras. There was no 4K at the time. So when that disc comes out, they're going to go back to that original 1080p Sony stuff and upconvert to 4K from the original RAW files, which is still going to look significantly better than just upconverting from what they rendered for Blu-ray or whatever it was.
Right.
Or
Because the
yeah,
possible benefits would be you're going to get a lot more color, I'm assuming, because
yeah.
the
But
downgrade
doing
to
it from
the
an animated file,
and that's what I'm
even-
saying. You're
Yeah.
going to get more color depth. You're going to get probably a little bit more depth of focus.
Mhm.
Clearly a lot more resolution out of like the details.
Mhm.
I'm sure it's going to look even a little bit smoother perhaps to some people's eyes. You're not going to have any compression. That's the big thing, because for those who don't know, even in a 4K movie that you're watching in your home, it's still heavily compressed to a point. It's not true, quote unquote, to the actual file that they have on their computer, because Valiant and I were talking about this recently on another stream.
Oh yeah, raw
Where just the
files. You're talking about terabytes and dozens
Actually,
of terabytes.
we just talked about in the last 4K for you, where we were talking about the new disc there to talk about the terabyte disc or whatever. So like, yeah, this is one of those things where this will benefit, I think, greatly. Now, will it look leaps and bounds better than the other versions? Probably not, but it will probably look significantly better. Much more darker blacks, much more brighter brights. You'll get a more variant in the colors. In certain areas, I'm sure, to where you'll get more differentiation between this level of blue and that level of blue, like we see on this screen here now. Like in the 4K, newer 4K version, we might see a lot more differentiation in the colors, let's say, because those are the kind of things that adding resolution and adding extra, basically bit rate to the overall picture, I think will benefit in an animated film like this, to where like going in and going from the ground up and trying to redo it in 4K, I think it would just look horrible. I think this is probably about the only way you can do these kind of movies from here on out until we get to a point where they've caught up with the technology.
Probably.
And that's the thing. These movies are already going to look beautiful. They looked great when they were on DVD. I remember all the Pixar films were always reference quality DVDs. I know, Valiant, you've talked about that before too, about how that's the go-to for most stores, because it shows off all the color and the pizzazz of HD TV.
Everybody used to use, animated features all the time. If you're going to demo a set, then you use that, because the people who created it had perfect control of everything: color, exposure, lighting, depth of field. Everything was digitally manipulated. Created from scratch, as opposed to having to shoot through a lens. So yeah, that was always what you used was Toy Story, or any Pixar film, Bug's Life. Back when I was doing it, it was more Bug's Life at that point, late 90s into the early 2000s. That was always on everybody's demo units.
So yeah, aside from that, according to the report, it's 100% going to be Criterion. Pixar's involved, and Disney had no involvement, according to some. But according to the same people, the entire Disney catalog is open for licensing. Now, I'm not so sure about that either, because Valiant and I were discussing this before the show, and I understand that at least the original batch of Pixar movies are under a completely different deal, since they weren't owned by Disney at the time, and they own the video distribution rights to them. And that's why, as far as I understand, those films are constantly in rotation on video. They've never been out of rotation. They're not going into moratorium. They never are going into moratorium. And I remember Lasseter saying something like that early on. because he wanted to make sure they were always going to be available for kids to have and own. And that's why we've gotten tons and tons and tons of releases of these before in the past. So to me, I wonder if this is just more of a deal with Pixar, that maybe we'll get this one and then they'll go backwards and do a few other ones like Ratatouille and Bug's Life and stuff like that, maybe. But I don't necessarily see them getting to do too many more of these. But what do you guys think on this? Do you think this is just a deal with Pixar? Or do you think Disney's going to be involved with it later on?
I think it has something to do with Pixar. I'm in the mindset that it's Pixar, but I would say that it would probably lend opening a door to letting Disney squeak in there and get some of their stuff through Criterion. That's the way I see it.
What do you think, Valiant?
I mean, I'd like them to. I like these third parties. I especially like Criterion. For those that may not know, I mean, Criterion has been around. Oh, good Lord!
Forever.
Criterion is making laser discs.
Laser discs, were their big claim to fame. They were basically the original special edition.
They were. And the thing with Criterion is they've always had a reputation of making extremely high quality products, the best that they possibly could, at least from the given source material. I mean, it's like if you bought a Criterion edition of something, you were buying the best possible transfer, the best possible quality of that given fill in the blank film, laserdisc, whatever the case may be. It's really a stamp of high quality. So yeah.
And again, I'm more poised to believe it has more to do with Pixar, but again, I cannot get a denial or a confirmation on anybody on this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So of all the people that I know and talk to within the industry, I have not been able to get a straight answer. The straightest has been from Bill on Twitter, Bill Hunt of the Digital Bits. And he basically said at this time, as far as I know, I can't say anything or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I can't say anything to that. So it was kind of a denial thing. And he may not be anywhere near knowing what is going on here. But seeing how Disney has been backing off on a lot of their home media and the fact that they have Disney Plus going on,
right?
I'm gonna put out a little bit of an idea that there may be something more to this, because it would make sense for Disney to exploit their catalog through a secondary company instead of them harboring the cost for a lot of this shit. And it will also help them amortize 4K remasters in the future.
That's true.
That I think is where, and as you guys have just said, Criterion is the topmost of the popamost, as the Beatles would say. Yeah. They are the cream of the crop. When you, they're expensive as fuck on top of it all.
It's like that Bill Lustig, who that I've talked about the interview that I watched. He said out of the companies, he said Criterion will probably be the one that lasts of all these companies.
Well, they've got the longest pedigree.
They've got he said they'll always be around. They got all the movies they can license, so they're good.
And honestly, with some of the titles they have been losing, them picking up the Disney Fox catalog and whatever they still own for their secondary films, because they don't own the Miramax catalog, from my knowledge, but they do have I think the Hollywood catalog and the Touchstone catalog, obviously. And I'm trying to think of what other companies they had underneath there, but Miramax and Dimension catalog is now under Paramount, from my knowledge. But plus all their regular Disney films. And we're going to somewhat go through this article. We're not going to read the whole thing. But basically they kind of say the same thing that we were just saying. It's not surprising that Disney doesn't do this company, and they're talking about, putting out their movies to other companies. Disney is obsessed with brand management and crafting, blah, 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 blah. Possibly more than Wally joining the collection, which I'm pretty fucking excited about, according to this writer, is the prospect of other pictures made by Disney joining as well. Though the omnipresent churn of content makes it difficult to see now, blah, 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 blah. Big question is, when is The Lion King coming to Criterion? However, that is not a tactic Criterion and Disney would take together. Criterion doesn't just act as a distributor for most famous movies, but also the ones that don't get the spotlight they should. If this relationship continues to grow, how the two companies decide which titles to put out will be fascinating endeavor. Now, here's the thing: is this is where we're going to see a plausibility with this. Seeing Disney as art, not a product. I can see them pushing, because that's like, where are they going to go now with a lot of their classic films, right? If there is any possibility for them to have another home video release at this point, it's obviously going to be in 4K. A lot of them have had one already. They kind of shot themselves in the foot, Valiant, as we've talked about time and time again, with keeping their films in the vault and re-releasing them like they used to because of Disney Plus.
Yep.
But I could see Criterion doing especially the early films in very special edition versions. That makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys, but it sounds like it does already. So
yeah, it makes sense. That's probably what they're looking to do. And like you said, it's like a second parties that way they confront the cost of the disc manufacturing, the scans, and all that, so Disney can still sort of focus on their streaming.
Exactly. And that's one key element. And of course, here it goes more into the classics. And then the other one is, this is one that we get asked about a lot. And that is the often live action works. And these have never gotten a lot of love from Disney on home video, at least in the last 2 decades, let's say. And a lot of these titles that people want, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, The Black Hole, Treasure Island, they've only been available through the Disney Movie Club and exclusively through there. I can see a lot of these films definitely being picked up by Criterion, because these are Scream Criterion.
Now here's a question. Speaking of which, I mean, I know I didn't mean to take you off of that. Is James Cameron has said that he's completed The Abyss. Now, do you think The Abyss could come through the Criterion?
Maybe.
Or do you think Disney's going to release that straight for? Oh, sorry, I didn't.
No, that's
you got you there quicker.
Jumping ahead a little bit, but because they got Touchstone and some other ones, but no, I mean, if we want to just jump to Fox, because I don't know if they mentioned it. They don't.
I don't think
they don't mention Fox
here. Yeah.
So let's get to that aspect too.
Would get to that point with Criterion, only because, I mean, Criterion is the one that, I mean, if Criterion is doing it, they're usually doing the grunt work. I mean, if Cameron has finished The Abyss, which he stated late last year,
that's not always true though. But yeah, I
mean, would he been working with Criterion in that case to do it? I mean, that's
maybe not necessarily, because I'll say this. I can't say how I know this, but let's say I talked to somebody in the industry, and sometimes how this works is, yes, the onus is on them to try and come up with the money to do a 4K master, let's say. But once in a great fucking while, you'll get lucky and somebody from somebody else will already do one for you. And it just happens to happen while you're in the middle of your doing whatever. Or that's what the catalyst for releasing this is. So what I'm saying is the fact that Cameron has that 4K master, if it exists, as we're being told, that could be a basis and a reason for a Criterion to say, yes, it's time for us to do a special edition like the old classic Laserdisc.
Well, that'd be something.
Because let's just say I talked to somebody where they were looking at probably having to foot the cost for a 4K transfer, and then all of a sudden somebody else did it. So they didn't have to worry about it no more. Or just little things like that'll happen. Like, even it's not that, it's let's say it's something like a dubbing for another country, perhaps. Something like that even comes, they may have to think and they're going to have to do it themselves, and then it just happens to be that somebody comes across one, or they get the license for it, whatever. So sometimes a lot of these boutique titles, it's just pulling together whatever they can. And it depends on if the company already has a 4K master, which is something I'm going to talk about in maybe one of our later discussions here if we still have time. But I think the Fox collection also has a lot of things in the catalog, being Abyss being one of them, the Aliens films, what's left of them, especially Aliens, hasn't really been messed with yet. All the Cameron movies that we talked about are mostly under Fox. Not to mention, how many R-rated and PG-13 rated films that probably will never make their way on Disney Plus, for that matter,
right? But
are still big sellers on video. Fox has a lot of those kind of movies, so that I can see along with their live action films. But again, as you were saying, it also does help them amortize the cost of some of these too. And also they bring up Touchstone, which also has a lot of films, like Pretty Woman is one of them, and I think that's what The Rock and Armageddon and all those are under. Yeah. Maybe those 2 Michael Bay movies will get released. Yeah, see, this is the one that I was talking about, because their version of The Rock and Armageddon are superior to the versions we have on Laserdisc, Blu-ray.
Nice. That's intriguing. It definitely is, because there's so many of those Touchstone movies and stuff out there that just need a release, and they sell, and so many people remember them, and they're just so hard to find on a DVD or Blu-ray because Disney has basically shelved everything.
Well, and of Michael Bay movies, like, let's be real, most people do like The Rock and Armageddon for the most part. And if any of his films scream out for a 4K release, it's The Rock and the Armageddon. So let's be real here.
Yeah.
Like, and Armageddon, as I said, it is a director's cut. It's not overly long, and this is one of those few random cuts we were just talking about before, where what does get added into it does add a little bit to it, because there's a scene with like Bruce Willis's character and his father that's left on the cutting room floor that's not in the other version, and some other character moments as well. So that would be kind of cool to finally see those in some form of high definition, whether it's 4K or 2K. But you guys remember we were hearing about another Touchstone film recently coming to 4K out of the blue, and that was Tombstone.
Yes, I remember
and that's
that.
one I could see Criterion getting
That would be right up
nice.
their alley.
That would be nice,
Exactly.
especially getting like the extra footage and stuff that
if
was
it's
cut
still
out of that.
available, yeah.
That would be awesome if they could find that.
And I can see them taking on some of these. Even Con Air would fall into the plausibility.
That would.
I see somebody just mentioned Cyber Soldier. Yeah, that's another one I'd like in 4K. So yeah, I think those are all plausibilities. I mean, I don't know if I'd boast too much about Michael Bay films other than that, but
Transformers: Dark of the Moon, man, that's coming.
No, that's Paramount, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That one's already got a 4K.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there any other movies from Fox or Touchstone or anything like that, Valiant, that you can think of? Splash might finally get a non-fucked up release in the U.S.
I was gonna say, are we going to be able to see Daryl Hannah's butt?
Yeah, I would hope so. That's the other beauty of this, is that it allows them to release films without the worry of them taking responsibility for any of the problematic elements. Did we lose Valiant?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. You were really quiet.
No, I was letting you finish your thought.
Well, so is there any other movies, Valiant, that you can think of that you might want to see come out of this deal, if it's possible?
Oh God, there's probably a number. I'd have to look down the list to see, but I mean, yeah, Tombstone would definitely be at the top of my list on that one. I mean, I would love to see that one. I mean, I've been waiting for that one for a while. I mean, especially after they did Unforgiven, and I'm thinking, okay, well, that was right around that same era. Come on, let's get Tombstone next. I mean, obviously, completely different companies, different distribution networks. But I remember getting Unforgiven on 4K and thinking to myself, man, I haven't seen Tombstone in a while. Not even on 4K digitally anywhere, I don't think still. And so I'm like, yeah, that's definitely up there.
No, on the Blu-ray we got is not the greatest.
It is not.
It's not even the extended cut either.
No, I bought it because that's all there is. But am I a fan of how it looks? Not. I mean, it's okay, but it's not great.
No. So that would be cool. What about you, Greg? Can you think of anything offhand?
That's what I was trying to, because we've talked about this before about some movies from Touchstone that maybe we would like to see, and I was trying to think of some of them myself. I can't remember.
Son-in-Law?
Yes, Son-in-Law was one of them. Wasn't that would I don't know about Criterion, but I would definitely love a Blu-ray.
Was that Pauly Shore?
Yeah, we need the Pauly Shore collection.
Oh, geez.
That would be nice.
Buddy.
Down and Out Beverly Hills.
Yes,
Buddy.
that's another earlier one of theirs.
Yeah.
Because Touchstone had some really edgy ones they did in the late 80s there after Splash
Ernest Goes
and
to
Down
Camp.
and Out. The Ernest films, even though I don't know if they're
those.
quite Criterion collection level, the first 4 or so of those are actually really good.
Yeah.
They do deserve,
like Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Saves Christmas. I'll take
And
Ernest Scared Stupid.
and Ernest Scared
Good.
Stupid. Yeah. Dead Poet Society.
That would be one
There's
I could see
one.
Criterion doing.
Yeah, where the hell is that one, man? Yeah,
That's only
That's
been
a
on
Touchstone.
Blu-ray. Yeah.
Disney.
It's got a Blu-ray, but it's one I picked up at I think either Walmart or Best Buy for like $5 years ago.
Yeah. What about Bob?
Oh, that's one that's never even got a fucking Blu-ray.
Yeah.
yeah. It's on.
That's
well,
Criterion level.
It's out there on HD, but not.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned Die Hard. I do know the Die Hards have 4K masters, and the first one has been released, but not the other ones.
I was about to say, yeah, I know the first one is 4K is out there
because I've got them all in 4K on digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like The Nightmare Before Christmas is like
that
combination
one
Touchstone and Walt Disney. So
that would be a great one for Criterion.
Or Captain Ron. I was just looking through something that I haven't seen in a while.
Lord.
Father
I
of
don't
the
know if
Bride
I-
with Steve Martin.
That one I could see Criterion doing one for.
Yeah.
Maybe for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids as well, because that's one that didn't even get a standard Blu-ray release. It was only through the Disney Movie Club. I got that in the sequel, but like that was a huge blockbuster when it came out. I mean, what the hell? Like, I can't believe that. But just for the special effects part of it alone, and I think it got nominated for that and a few other things. Like, I think that would fall in the Criterion Collection's domain. I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but we already got a decent 4K
Yeah, you
release
guys could
of
say
that,
you
so.
got Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. I could see that kind of.
I could see that
maybe.
one. Yeah, I could see that one.
That would be I mean, that's a very bright, colorful.
Isn't that a
movie.
Miramax one though, or is that a co-production?
I'm looking at a list of Touchstone pictures.
Oh,
and I
maybe it
think
must have been Touchstone then.
Yeah, it doesn't say any other films part of it is the list I'm looking through. So yeah.
All right, I thought that was Miramax, I suppose, just because it had Mira Sorvino in it.
I found the perfect one though. Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal.
Damn right.
No.
I think that's a slam dunk.
Face Off, but that's in combination with Paramount though. So.
I was gonna say that's a Paramount title.
Yeah.
But I think we've heard that one's coming to 4K, haven't we? Heard a rumor of that?
Probably once they release the sequel.
Yeah, the last version.
I thought I
Romeo
heard
Michelle,
something.
Yeah, 2012. So it was 10 years ago. Last month was the 15th anniversary edition.
Wow.
25 years this year. How freaky is that? But yeah, that's Disney Buena Vista.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about go ahead.
Well, Sister Act, that's one I could see doing Criterion as well, yeah. But no, I could see this being a very interesting deal. What else were you going to add to that, Greg?
I was going to say, what about I just saw this movie and Rushmore, Wes Anderson's Rushmore. That seems like a Criterion.
Oh, I remember that.
Like,
one.
Yeah. I didn't really care for it, but it says it's Touchstone.
Well,
but
then that's definitely they already
but
did.
it's also
one,
Wes Anderson.
I thought the one I had from DVD was Criterion already.
Oh, so there
most
you
of
go.
Wes Anderson's movies have been put on in Criterion.
I think maybe Wes Anderson has a thing where they're his movies.
That could very well
mean?
be, because as far as I know, like, because even Steve Zissou has a Criterion
Like
one,
it's his company and maybe
Fox
Disney or whatever.
The Mr.
distributed
Fox or
it.
whatever it was called, Incredible Adventures or whatever the hell it was called. That animated one.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one has a Criterion one as well, and I think his newer film doesn't yet, but that's like his two newer films I think are the only two that don't yet. Good Morning Vietnam would be a fucking great one.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Just bring Dead Poet Society, Good Morning, bring back all the Robin Williams stuff. Why not?
Dick Tracy is another one that needs a 4K.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, you're not kidding.
That Blu-ray looks beautiful. I can't imagine how great it would look in 4K.
Back when Madonna still looked like Madonna, still sounded like Madonna.
Well, not just that, the way the movie shot like a comic book and the way it would pop.
Yeah,
on 4K would just be beautiful.
In the original, like there was 4 colors in that film right out of the comic book. That was it. Yep. You had red, green, blue, yellow, everything.
And I think it would just pop. And they brightly lit. So that's going to look good. Because speaking of that, that's actually probably a good segue into the movies we've seen this week. Because Valliant and I picked up, we did get, let's say we've not so much picked up, but I got in the mail, even though I'm waiting for most of the other releases this week, Friday the 13th. And it looks good. I don't know. What did you think, Valliant? We lost Valliant for a second.
I heard it was really dark.
It is much darker than the Shout Factory release. And actually, I'm going to say this right up front. If you're somebody who already has the Shout Factory box set and you're reluctant to get it, wait to get it on sale. It's not that big of an upgrade over the original. I was bopping back and forth. Yes, the HDR does add a little bit. Yes, there's a little bit more resolution, but that Shout Factory one was so good already, and it's new enough that.
Hey, sorry, the dogs were screaming.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
but yeah, as you were saying, Greg, that's the problem with some of these 4K movies, and that's where I think a movie like Dick Tracy would benefit over something like, say, Batman did, because Batman was the darker of the two at that time.
Right.
The same thing here with Friday the 13th. It's a dark movie. So if you're looking for an amazing 4K experience, I don't think you're going to find it here. Yeah. But what you do find is a pretty decent overall, very even transfer. I'm curious if they went, because I know it's just from the original negative, because it's the same scan as far as I know that they did for the Shout release.
Right.
But going by the transitions and shit, I think they redid all the transitions, because I'm not noticing any second generation degradation in any of this shit. Like, it was all pretty even-handed, unless it's just the way that the DNR was applied just right or whatever it was. That this is a very even presentation. I don't know what you thought, Valiant, but I thought it was a very well done 4K. I wouldn't say it's worth $20 necessarily if you already own it, but if you don't own it, definitely it's worth it.
On Friday the 13th, you're talking about?
Yeah.
No, I had an older, like, actually, no, wait, now I'm trying to think. Did I have Friday the 13th on disc? No, I think I had bought the collection digitally a couple of years ago when I think it was around Halloween. I think I paid like $25 for all of them. It was like all 8 of them or something like that.
Right.
I think is what I did.
Must have been just the Paramount ones, but yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was on. I bought it through Apple TV and iTunes.
Right.
But so yeah, I bought it and actually I still have it on right now. It's kind of playing in the background, and yeah, I was really impressed. I mean, it looks good. It looks about as good as I think you could expect film stock of that era, of that quality. Because again, this was a very low budget film, to look at that point. So,
oh yeah, it looks
like
great for what it is.
If you enjoy the movie and you don't own it, and if you didn't, especially if you didn't own the Blu-ray version of it, you will be very happy if you get this one.
Now, to be clear, when I say Blu-ray, I'm talking about just the Shout Factory one. This is a huge improvement over the older Blu-rays from Paramount and obviously the DVDs, and I'm sure they haven't upgraded any of the, I don't know if they upgraded any of the digital versions or not.
The digital versions look fairly good. I mean,
they might been from the newer scans. Who knows? They do upgrade those usually. So
yeah.
Sometimes to people's chagrin, because they'll remove like a director's cut and put in an HD version of a theatrical version. But yeah, anyway, go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I'll probably stick with my Shout Factory box set for a while, and maybe down the road upgrade it or something. But it's nice to know that it looks decent. Because
I'll tell you right now, they're not going to do any more than the first 4 probably in 4K, because those are the only ones that got scanned. 5 through whatever did not. Yeah. So if they're going to do any, and they might not even do part 3 in 4K, maybe. But so those who want to know, Jed asks, is it the theatrical cut or the uncut? It's both versions. But as far as I can tell, I didn't watch the theatrical cut, but there is no mono track in this one like there is on the Shout Factory. So if you're somebody who's a purist and you only want the mono track, then you're going to have that version as well, because this only has the 5.1 mix on it. So keep that in mind. But it has all the same special features as the Shout Factory disc, but it does not have the extra special features that were on the bonus disc. So you're missing some of that, but otherwise everything else has been carried over, surprisingly, on the 4K itself. So that's a plus. Nice. I like that. I hate it when they, because there is no Blu-ray with this. So in case anybody wants to know what it looks like, actually it's very uniformed, much like their newer versions of Star Trek films. As you can see, it's a nice matte black, or whatever you call it, gloss black, not matte, finish. Decent ass looking, basically, for the most part. Pretty basic and pretty much what we want. But it's just the 4K. That's it. Nothing else. So for $20, if you already own it on the Shout Factory, I definitely would say you could probably wait until you can find it on Black Friday for a much cheaper deal, probably.
Yeah.
And 2 is coming soon, but we have not heard anything about 3 or 4 yet. So I'm sure those might depend on how these sell.
Yeah. But it's pretty interesting. I'm glad to know it's a decent enough transfer. So, and with all the special features from the Shout, other than the extra special ones.
But yeah, no, the Dolby Vision upgrade does make a difference. Like, it does add some color depth to it. The yellows and stuff, for instance, like, when they got like the yellow shirts in the beginning and the raincoats and stuff like that, definitely pop much more, like when somebody's wearing red and blue. But unfortunately, a lot of it's shot at night indoors. Yeah. So, or what isn't shot outside is indoors, I mean. And it's nighttime usually anyway. So you're going by like candle lights and other kind of lights that are not like the brightest of lights. But you do get to get a little bit more filmic depth to it compared to the Blu-ray. But that Shout Factory Blu-ray was well done. Like, I can't stress that enough. For a Blu-ray release, that was really well done. So,
true.
Was there anything else you watched, Valiant, or anything you had to add to that one?
No, I really, like I said, so far with Friday the 13th, that's the only thing I've gotten new. Like I said, I was hoping to get my damn Star Trek, but it's still not here.
Well,
So
I'll be talking
by
about those
this
later
time
on
next
Greg's show.
week-
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to get. Look, all I care about in that set, I've seen the first 4. Obviously, I've had those since the first box set came out. I am dying to dive into Undiscovered Country. I mean, just like it's killing me that it's still not here. It's absolutely killing me. So hopefully, if what I'm looking at on Amazon today is accurate, that it's going to be here Friday, then okay, then I'll be okay. I'm like, okay, that's going to be that'll be my weekend, and I might spend an afternoon just going through, the whole thing. I don't know, but yeah. Hopefully have something to talk about next week on that end.
Yeah. I think Tim was asking if the Friday the 13th was shout. No, Friday the 13th was actually just a Paramount straight release. But the difference between this and say like when they released, because they did a similar thing like with Escape from LA. But when they released Escape from LA on 4K, I don't think there was any special features on that one at all. All those special features were only on the Shout Factory disc. But in this case, at least all the main special features that were on the main disc are transferred over. So there's just a few things that were new to the Shout Factory thing. And I think the trailer, for instance, and a couple other things were not carried over. So unless you have that old disc from the old original DVD set and stuff like that, you're missing out on some special features maybe. But other than that, it's for the casual fan who just wants a good looking picture. Go for it. And did we answer it? Had both the theatrical and yeah, we did. Yes. It has both cuts on it as well. So yeah. Oh, wants to know what is it like? This is the only thing I'm going to say right now because I'm going to save the rest for later for Greg's show on my Star Trek talk. I'd like to know what the special longer version, aka ABC cut of the Star Trek motion picture is like in 4K. Well, if you did not get this box set, if you don't find it in the wild, chances are you're not going to get it.
Oh, no, those are gone.
Very limited.
Yeah.
This is the only way you get the special longer version that Jed's talking about here. It's really only about 5-ish more minutes longer than the director's edition. But it's the only way you can get it. Now, that being said, how does it look? Great. Looks spectacular. They did finish the scene that wasn't finished, though. So for those who are wondering, the famous scaffolding scene has been fixed. But they did include the original version of the scene as an extra feature for those who want to watch it. So it's still there.
That's cool.
So in this case, this is one of the most... You're not going to find a more complete edition of Star Trek, the motion picture, than this one right here. The 2-disc edition is pretty good. Now, I cannot confirm this, but I heard that the version that they have in Europe is a 3-disc edition and has this 3rd disc in it, but it's just not the swag edition. It's just like a regular disc. So you may be able to import it until somebody confirms this for me, because they're all 4K discs except for the bonus disc is a Blu-ray. So in that case, because the theatrical and the extended cut are on one disc, and then the director's edition's on another disc. And the US, you can only get the director's edition by itself, and that's it. It does not have the theatrical cut in it. So keep that in mind either. That's the only way. Besides, now you can get the theatrical cut. It comes in the set the Valliant had originally. But now I'm not sure, is this new black set you got coming, is that got the director's edition of Star Trek the motion picture in it?
The box set that I bought with the 6 movies. Oh yeah, no, it's got the director's cut. So the version
is it only the director's cut, or does it have the theatrical cut with it?
That's a good question. I think it's both.
I watched the serial midnight video. Sorry.
Okay, so just to keep this straight, guys, evidently you can get the theatrical cut in that version, but I don't think it comes with the standalone version. Last I checked. So yeah, so there you go. There's the whole situation. Unless I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. But as far as I know, that's the only way you can get the TV cut. Is it worth that? Depends on how bad you want that version and how bad you want the swag. Because as far as the sound on that version, it's only in 2.0 stereo because it's the exact same soundtrack they had for the television version. So for the nostalgia freak in you, that part's the same, but there's no upgrade in the sound. But it didn't bother me. That was actually one of the best sounding Dolby surround tracks I've heard in a while, to be honest with you. Considering it was incomplete at the time they made the movie. It is one of the best sounding Dolby surround tracks, just 2.0 surround tracks that I've ever heard come out of my system. Oh. Yeah. Cool. Like it's very enveloping and everything for the time. Very comparable to the Atmos one that's on the new edition. So yeah. But with that, Greg actually was lucky enough to get Real Genius in the mail. Yeah. I didn't.
I got it, and
some other people didn't.
Yes, I did. I did not realize that till you said something, and I heard that some Best Buys didn't have them and stuff. So
Best Buy didn't get theirs either. Yes,
yeah, I pre-ordered it, and I actually got it earlier than I usually get it. So that was kind of exciting for me.
I pre-ordered mine too. I think the day it went up, or at least close to it. And mine still got delayed.
That's crazy. But it looks great. It looks beautiful. It was a really great transfer. I have not really had any much complaints about the Sony 4Ks they've been doing. They've been good. I mean, there's a few scenes here and there that's kind of look a little flat. Just a couple scenes, but nothing to complain about, really. It looked great, and it was just a fun movie. You see Val Kilmer again as Chris Knight. It was hilarious. I loved it.
Oh, I can't wait to get mine. It's been long.
It was so good, man. I mean, like some of the scenes, man, was just like really pop, especially with the brightness and the lasers. Of course, like the opening special effects shot in the beginning of the movie with the spaceship and the thing. It's a little, but it's kind of a fake thing anyway, so it kind of works.
Yeah, and this is something I've heard from a few people now, Victor, is that they're still waiting for the Real Genius to ship. Yeah. I had this problem too, but I looked and it supposedly has shipped out. So, yeah, mine too is also from Amazon. But I had to turn around and get my Elvis from Best Buy because I went out to pick it up at the store. They were out. Then I go look on Amazon and they're sold out too. I'm like, fuck. But that's luckily, crazy. Best Buy still had some in stock. So,
well, that's good.
Which I'm pissy because actually I remember now I pre-ordered it. I canceled the pre-order when I heard somebody told me there's a bunch of modern music in it. And then I watched the movie on HBO Max and I ended up liking it more. So I'm like, you know what? I might want this. And now I'm glad I did get a hand on it because especially it seems like it's hard to come by for some reason.
It does. It does. It's crazy.
Still got their fan base and they probably knew exactly how many to create. Let it get sold out and everybody goes crazy. And then it's like, hey, we can make some more, So look, it's working for them. They had a popular movie. It sold to its audience well. And I bet I'd be interested to see how many downloads of the soundtrack from that movie there were. Because there was a ton.
A little less conversation, a lot more action.
I mean, think of how many
I've seen the soundtrack. I refuse to buy it.
I mean, I think of the soundtrack with Bohemian Rhapsody when they did that. I mean, this is
the difference here is this is a bunch of remixes with modern people in it. That's the problem I have with it, and that's the only downside of the movie, really.
Well, I mean, I get what they were going for. I mean, as long as they
have you seen it yet, or
I have not. I didn't get a chance to.
Oh, okay. Now, Greg, did you get a chance to watch it like you had planned on?
No, I did not actually get it because we were supposed to watch it last Friday, but sadly we did not have find a good time to get it because the kids were here and stuff. But we plan on trying to this weekend.
It's not as bad as I had anticipated being from what people were saying, but it was still.
I got to see it because I'm not feeling it. Personally,
because that was the only part that bothered me, really. There's a few other minor things that bothered me, but overall, I was impressed by how much I actually liked the movie.
I may end up like you. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish, Greg.
No, that's what I say. I may end up like Tom because I'm not a huge fan of Baz Luhrmann and his style. And that movie I have not been wanting to see it, but my dad wants to see it because we're huge Elvis fans. So we'll see.
It was a rough go to begin with, but yeah, go ahead.
I was never. No. I was just going to say real quick. See, that's one of the reasons I didn't run out to see the movie is because I personally was never a big Elvis fan. I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, his music sucked or he was terrible. No, he was never. I mean, that kind of country, and he was much more country than rock and roll. Let's be honest. I mean, which is
Rockabilly,
fine. Yeah. So I mean, it never really kind of was my thing. Now he had a few songs that I liked, but I was not a big old giant Elvis fan. So I didn't run out to see it, but I was intrigued by it enough to where I absolutely would if I got my hands on it. I think it's still on HBO Max, or did it leave yet?
Yeah, it's still on there.
It's still on there.
It'll be on there for a while, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the 90 days thing or whatever they do.
Yeah, that I couldn't remember if it was 60 or 90 days, and I knew it had been there a little while.
It might be 60 on there, 90 after it's out. That could be what it is.
I need to make it a point to, before it disappears, to watch it, because I would like to check it out.
I'm glad I did, because I'm not a Baz Luhrmann fan too, and that's what kept me away between hearing that and the stuff about the actor singing in the movie. I don't know
liked Moulin Rouge
if he sang in the movie or not, to be honest with you, Stan, but they have mixing like of other stuff like rap artists and stuff in between some of the other stuff. It's not a lot of Elvis's music though. What it turns out to be is the gospel music and stuff that they're singing in the background and stuff that he hears. Like that's when it starts to mix in like a newer artist or something like that here and there. So that didn't bother me so much. It kind of took me out here and there. But that's kind of my biggest complaint with the movie is the movie is a great film until Baz Luhrmann decides to remind us that it's a Baz Luhrmann movie.
Yeah.
If he would have got out of his own fucking way for 5 minutes half the time, it was because that's the thing is it feels a lot more like a Bohemian Rhapsody kind of film most of the time. So that's why it's very watchable in my opinion. It's very watchable in that sense. Tom Hanks is giving one of his best performances, and since like Castaway and Forrest Gump, to be honest with you. And I'm not the hugest Tom Hanks fan or anything like that. I don't. I know the rumors, whatever. That's neither here nor there as far as this goes. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was going to get nominated for an Oscar. I don't know if Pinocchio hurt those chances now. But
well, they'll still nominate him. He was chairman of the Academy or president of the Academy for what? 15 years or something like that, chairman of the board. He's going to get a nomination for that.
It is frantic as hell. Yes, that's true. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. There's no way he's not going to get a nomination for it. I'd be shocked if he didn't.
Yeah, of all the Oscars he's won and been nominated for, this was one I could understand because this is one of the times he got out of his own way. Speaking of getting on their own way, he actually did step aside from the Tom Hanks typical because I like Saving Mr. Banks, but let's be real, that's not Walt Disney, that's Tom Hanks playing Tom Hanks. Yeah. I liked
did you ever see Fitch?
Which one?
Fitch.
That one's not ringing a bell.
It was Apple TV.
No, I haven't seen
Tom Hanks came out within the last year. And that's just it. It flew right past everybody because they bought the movie. Just like, remember when Apple TV bought Greyhound? Did you ever see that one? Okay.
I heard about it. I'd never seen it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Greyhound was great. I enjoyed it. That's another World War II Tom Hanks movie. It was going to theaters, and then Apple stroked a check to Tom, and I forget what the studio was, for $90 million. Just bought it from him. It was in the middle of COVID, and they put it on Apple TV to broadcast it there because they didn't know when it was going to theaters, and they said, yeah, we'll take the $90 million and we'll walk. Great movie. Huh. It's exclusively to Apple TV. So they went back to Tom again and had him do another movie, and Finch is like Wally meets I Am Legend. I know, sounds crazy, right?
No, it's just weird that I don't remember hearing about it. This means that Apple didn't get behind anything really to promote this at all.
No, all you have to be like a Mac head like me. You have to be like completely engrossed in the Mac ecosystem because I've got all the Mac computers and I've got Apple TV. I've had Apple TV, like the subscription service for years.
Yeah, I avoid Apple.
It is so good. It was absolutely. I remember watching it and thinking to myself, that was one of the best movies I had seen in a long time, like new movies. And I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
On that note, though, like as far as because like even the Mr. Rogers movie, I wasn't a big fan of, but again, it was just him playing himself. It wasn't him playing Mr. Rogers, really.
Right.
But in this movie, he's so caked under makeup. The character that he's playing is so against the typical Tom Hanks type.
He's character acting. That's what he's so damn good at.
And it's like until you hear just moments here and there where his voice will come through, you forget it's Tom Hanks from time to time. And this is the first time I've said it before. I mean, unless there was a series or something I don't know about or something else I might have missed at some point, this is the most accurate they've portrayed Colonel Tom Parker before. Probably because they were previously afraid of him suing the fuck out of everybody. But like, it's from his point of view, but he's even trying to tell you that he's not the bad guy, but the entire time you can tell he's the bad guy, right? Like, that's the beauty of the film, is it does a great job with how it just kind of orchestrates itself out. And if Baz Luhrmann would have just got out of his way for 5 minutes and not decided to try and make it a Baz Luhrmann movie, it would have been up there with Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, I can't say even Bohemian Rhapsody has its historical issues just like this film does, but Bohemian Rhapsody is an infinitely watchable film. Like, you can watch that movie over and over and over, and it's enjoyable. There's something about it that, even though I know it's bullshit and I'm a huge Queen fan, I still enjoy the music and the way it was put together and all that kind of stuff. So
I'm gonna tell you what made that movie completely rewatchable. It's that one scene where Mike Myers tells him that Bohemian Rhapsody will never sell, and everybody goes back, oh my God, this is how Wayne's World started. that was brilliant casting.
You'll never see kids headbanging to this in their cars.
Yeah, I know. That was the most brilliant thing ever, bringing in Mike Myers to be that record producer and say that to them. I mean,
and even though that scene is somewhat bullshit, I mean,
down my face.
The stuff that happened kind of happened to them, but like the way it happened,
they wrote it just to have make Mike Myers make that joke, and it was so perfect.
Pretty much, and it works. It works
so perfect.
And I know Greg's got to leave us, so I'm real quick. I'm just going to say then the one that I'm going to bring into this whole discussion then tonight is, sadly, I cannot recommend a 4K, and that is avoid this one. I'm really sorry.
Oh no!
I'm really, really sorry to the fans of this one. It is, as far as I can tell, because Shout will always tell you if it's from a new master. It does not say that on the back, and you can tell this is like a third or fourth generation from the negative.
Oh God!
It looks good, probably better than any Blu-ray ever did before. But if you already have the Blu-ray, don't bother. Do not bother. It is one of the MGM Orion owns the master, so until somebody does a proper remaster of the negative, avoid at all costs. Not a very good looking Blu-ray. Great movie, bad.
Yeah, I was about to say, what a great film to not get a proper transfer.
And I mean, yes, some of it could be down to the stock of the time. It was a very at that time there was some film stops. Yeah, but I can just tell from the size of the grain that it is not anywhere near like even the inner pod. Yeah, it's a few generations way past what it should be. It's probably an earlier, because MGM did do a bunch of 4K masters a while back, but I think they just scanned whatever the fuck they had on hand.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Not exactly Coppola level, right?
Exactly, not even close. But we got a couple super chats here, and if Greg, you got to dip out early,
I got
go ahead.
Dip out. But thank you guys for having me on here.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Greg. Actually, Greg did a video on his Real Genius, so if you want to hear more about that, go ahead and check that out.
And we'll probably talk a little bit more about it tonight.
I'm sure we'll talk about it tonight.
Yeah, all right. You guys have a good one. Thanks, man.
So yeah, check us out later on Greg's channel. And then Jack White says, Tom, I just sent you an email with a link to the newest trailer for Bleach. I will try to check that out, Jack. Thank you for that. And then we got Jeremiah Hembry, who says, is Treasure Planet getting a 4K? We got this one already. Let's see here. Did we get this one? Yes, we did. I just want to make sure we got them all. And then we got Jack White just send another email with a link to an interesting story about a new One Piece collectible. Would appreciate if you could talk about it for a couple of minutes. I'll take a look here in just a second. And then Jack White says, I have Apple TV, but I don't have Apple's streaming service. I just use it to watch movies and TV shows I purchased from iTunes. And this is why I hate using Apple, because it's the proprietary factor of it.
Well, it doesn't have to be. So like you can, I think they make an Apple TV app now that you can put on your, it's on your phone if you have an iPhone. I think they make the app now available, it's cross-platform. But if you have, Jack, I'm assuming when you say you have an Apple TV, meaning you have the physical black box.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is the same thing as a Roku or an Amazon Fire TV stick for the people out there listening.
Right.
So you can subscribe to the Apple TV service. It's like $4 a month. It's cheap. It's the cheapest streaming subscription out there, or among the cheapest. It's like $4.99. They're racking up a ton of Emmys for like the Ted Lasso show they have on there. That's what's winning everything, and they have some other real big shows that they're coming up with. They've had a lot of good success with the morning show with Steve Carell, and Reese Witherspoon was in that one, and they bring it. I mean that won some more Emmys this year. So they got some good stuff.
Pat Morita documentary on there too.
I have not got to watch that yet, and I do.
That one they made available elsewhere though, luckily. But yeah, I do remember that was one of theirs.
Yeah, they're really starting to
It,
expand.
but
yeah, so recently they had, like I said, they had those Tom Hanks films on there, The Greyhound, which was excellent, and Finch, and then they had recently they're now back in with the Lasseter group over at Skydance. They had Luck was exclusively to Apple TV, and that was an excellent, and I mean that was old school. God, we miss you, John Lasseter. Pixar. The man that put heart and soul into those animated features. I mean, if you kind of miss the old days of Pixar, what they used to do without all the like modern Disney politic BS they stick in there, and you want good old Pixar, go watch Luck on Apple TV. That's good old Pixar.
There you go. Well, the other thing he sent me here was, wait, what's this? Jaws something or other. Never mind. He sent this here to me. Every issue of One Piece has been printed in a 21,000 page book. And it costs close to $2,000. Holy crap, holy.
Wow.
He wanted us to react to this. Interesting. That is hell of a
wait, scroll back up. Let me see. And I agree with you. Duck Nation, on Better Call Saul. That is infuriating, and especially this being the final season. It's like what was that chick's name that was nominated for Emmys like 20 times? Oh, Susan Lucci. From Days of Our Lives or whatever. She had the record. She became kind of a joke in television because she literally was nominated every year for like 10 years or something like that. And finally on her 12th or 15th nomination, something crazy, she finally won. And it was, anyway. But yeah, Better Call Saul, it's a shame because now the show's over and it won't be able to ever get a freaking Emmy. Oh, One Piece. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Well, then. Yeah,
okay. So the entirety of One Piece so far has been printed in a single book spanning 21,450 pages, combining 25 years of manga chapters in a nearly $2,000 collection.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, if
only
you really
50 copies.
That's I can't believe they're only making 50 copies of that.
Wow.
Oh my God. That is going to be on eBay. That's going to be going for
3-4 times as much.
Easy.
How do you read that though? That's one whole big book. How fuck do you read that?
No. I'm sure it's
no, its exact dimensions are 4.5 times 7 times 31.5 inches, and it weighs 36 pounds.
That's all one
book. Yes.
Oh my God. No, okay,
spanning more than 1,000 chapters.
Oh, that's insane. That isn't well. That's one of the reasons it's that expensive. I mean, I can't even imagine. What do you tell your offset printer when you go there with that? Okay, it's going to be 5.5 by 8.
Sold out already,
and I know. And that thing probably sold out in 5 seconds.
Here, check this out. It actually comes in a box too. Here, whoops, and I just put the wrong thing here.
Oh my God.
Copy and paste.
Apparently it comes with some tampons too, right there available.
Holy shit. Yeah, I know, right? There's all kinds of shit.
And some Pediasure.
And Pediasure. What are you saying? I'm fucking old, Amazon? Fuck you. No, so One Piece, here we go. It actually has a nice box to it too. That looks cool.
Oh, wait, go to that overhead shot of the binding.
Not this
no,
one.
Keep going. Oh, well, that one was a good one. Go back.
This one here you're talking about?
Yes.
It's like,
oh my God.
Holy hell.
How does that work?
Exactly. How the fuck do you read that?
Dude, that looks like something out of Middle Earth or something in the libraries. Oh my God.
Let's look in the Elven script.
I mean, what the frick? What? Yeah,
2,000 generations have written in this book.
Where did you find an offset printer that can actually construct a spine that I mean, they had to have built They
It
had
was
to have
probably
built something
handmade. That's
special.
why they're 2,000 of them, or
It's-
$2,000 and only 50 of them made. Maybe I don't know.
It's gotta be because that. There's no way that is done. I mean, each page getting printed, yes, but the binding, there's no way that's done by machine. There's no machine that could bind that big.
No,
That's freakish.
that is huge. That is huge. Huge. Let's see what else we got here. This is the side view. We can get a bigger image. There you go.
I mean, it's really
Wow.
pretty. I mean, that's something
Yeah.
like I would not want my 17-year-old daughter to see. She's like, "Oh my god!"
50
Nope.
lucky people are going to be selling this on eBay for $5,000, $6,000, something.
I
like
know.
that.
Oh, more than that. I'm telling. There's no
Probably
way.
more like
that
10 grand.
I
at
was going to
least.
say there's not a single copy that's going to go for less than 10. Not
There
with
you
only 50
go.
of them made. That's crazy.
It's huge. Yes, as Nick would say.
Honestly, I can't believe
Huge.
they're only selling that for 2,000. Honestly,
Wow.
I cannot believe that.
I can't believe they only made 50 of them. You're right, because that's just crazy. Like they sold out
Yeah.
probably pretty quick. Nicholas Horton sends in a super chat. Thank you so much. Says, hi, Tom. Congratulations to Mead for reaching 300 live streams. Well, it was actually Midnight's Edge in the morning, but thank you. I recommend watching the newly released Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime on Netflix. You're the second person today to bring that up. So we may have to check that out. We got Jack White again, who says, I stream my purchases on iTunes directly from the cloud. I have over 935 movies. Cool. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm thinking about coming up with a new streaming situation. I was talking about also maybe getting a Kodi or whatever hell those things are called, the video thing maybe, but I don't know. I like my discs. Camelback Killer says, Hail Midnight's Edge in 4K for you. Tom, Valiant Renegade, and chat just got off work. Well, you'll have to rewind the show if you want to check it out because we're just wrapping things up here, Camelback Killer. But we do
But thank
appreciate
you for coming
that.
and the
Yeah.
super chat.
Indeed. But you can always hit rewind and start from the start, so you don't miss nothing that way. You just hit that button and you're good to go. So with that, Valiant, is there anything you wanted to plug before we head out of the door?
No, I don't think so. I don't have anything particular on tap. I've just been crazy busy trying to get caught up after being homesick for like a week and a half. So, but I'm sure I should still have a Sunday show this weekend, 5:00 Sunday Central Standard Time. I am going to be out this weekend for my birthday. So I don't know. I'm not
Well,
going to
happy
get much done
birthday.
between now and then. So yeah, thank you. Gonna go see a concert, going to go see Kenny Wayne Shepherd. And yeah, I'm gonna be completely out of pocket probably Saturday and the first half of Sunday, but I'd probably be home in time to get the live show
All right.
done. So there we go.
Sounds good. And I will be, of course, back later on tonight on Physical Media Chat with Greg over on his channel, FanZcene. So check that out. And other than that, you can catch me on Mead tomorrow afternoon, I believe. Oh, yeah, I'm doing the Cobra Kai thing with Polly tomorrow at noon Pacific. So don't forget that
Cool.
as well.
I got to watch that.
Did you get a
again.
chance to watch it?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll
I think he's
binged it.
looking for another. I say he might be looking for another person if you're interested.
What time tomorrow?
2 Pacific. So it'd be I think 1 your
Shit. No,
time.
that's. I would love to. I'll try to listen in. It's
Oh,
like
it's
that's
your
like
work
noon,
time, I
middle of my.
suppose,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm in my office.
Oh,
middle of my
it's
work
noon.
day.
Yeah, it's the other way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot earlier for you.
So
All
I'll
right.
try to
Well,
listen in though.
sounds good. So until then, guys, thank you so much for being here today, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.